time happens in cycles, right? So if you look at time, we're taught that it's linear. It's not linear. When you zoom out, it happens in cycles. Think of the seasons, think of leaves growing and withering and falling and growing and withering, falling, whatever. It happens all around us. When you zoom out again, everything is happening all at once, but we're not going to get into that today. When you think in terms of awakening, and this was my own experience, so my first initial awakening happened when I was 16. I'm about to turn 26 now, so this was about 10 years ago. Happened when I was 16. It happened kind of abruptly. It scared the absolute shit out of me, and I was like, nope, don't want it. I want to go back to being asleep. This is too much. But the thing about that is, and they were telling me to share this with you guys too, is once you see something, you can't unsee it, and this very much so applies to the spiritual path as well. So what I was being shown was those like little optical illusion like ink blotter pictures, right? So when you look at it initially, it just looks like a blob of ink, but once you see the thing in it, you can shift your perspective, you can turn the picture, whatever, see other things inside of it, but you can never fully go back to just seeing that blob of ink, because you know that something more is inside of it. And that is kind of how spiritual awakening works. So you can try and push it out, you can try and like go back into your ego, and that's what I did. I very much so went back in my ego for a while, because I was like, I don't want this, but it just, like, once you're in it, you're fucking in it. So get comfy, pull up a chair, drink some tea, out, do whatever you gotta do, guys. But the thing about awakening is, you know, once you become awakened, you feel connected to everything and everyone, right? So you feel like you have this direct line to source. You have this direct line to everything, because source is just everything. But you also go through, because we're going back to the cycles, right? So all of this is connecting. We're going back to the cycles. So you also go through cycles of the void or the dark night of the soul, where you feel disconnected from everything. And all of this happens for a purpose. I kind of touch on it in my past videos. If you're interested in that, I can make more about it. But you go through the void, you go through disconnection, and that's what happened to me, right? So I awakened, I was like, nah, don't want it. Dark night of the soul can feel very depressing, you feel sad, you feel disconnected, whatever. But like I said, this is all serving a purpose. So if you're in this right now, like, I'm not gonna tell you like, oh, just be good, because like, easier said than fucking done, right? But it's happening for a purpose, okay? And if you feel disconnected from source, it will come back around, because everything works in cycles. So my second time awakening was around 18 or 19. That's when my abilities started coming. It wasn't like full on, but it's been happening slowly throughout the years. But that's when I started recognizing my own abilities. And then my third awakening was around 22. I got this crazy upgrade. I used to heavily dabble in plant medicine. I don't anymore, because I mainly used it as a connection to source, or a connection to my higher self. I would use it for going into like a trance-like state. I don't need to do that anymore, so I don't really do plant medicine anymore. And no, like, if you're doing it, that's your journey, that's fine. I don't recommend anybody does it unless, like, you know, that's your decision. But and this can be a whole fucking video in itself. It was the craziest trip I ever had. But I was getting upgraded. Like, essentially, I was working on myself in a higher level, and like pulling negative energy out of myself and transmuting it into wasps and bees, and I was releasing it back into the world. I was also hopping through multiple timelines or multiple lifetimes, and being shown like that this reality is not just the only reality. Like, all of this is happening at the same time. And that's also when my channel started really opening up, and it started opening up around 18 or 19. But like, that's when I first connected with my guides, and that can also be a full video in itself. But that's when my channel started opening up, and it really started coming through. I still didn't understand. I was like, well, this is scary, like, what did I opened Pandora's box, right? And then my fourth awakening happened, which was around 23 or 24. 4, so like relatively recently, and that's where I had a heart activation. I got another upgrade to my abilities, and my clairs started coming in, so like clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. You can do more research if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But that's when all my clairs started coming in, and that's why I feel the need to make these videos, is because, you know, I get information that I have been told I need to be sharing. So hi, hello, I'm gonna be sharing this shit. But the Dark Night of the Soul, I feel really called to talk about this. You could feel like you misstepped, right? Or like, at least I did when I was in it. I was like, oh, I made the wrong decision. And I used to overthink things. I still do sometimes, but I used to hella overthink things. So I'd be like, oh my god, I made a mistake, like this is like a punishment or something. It's not a punishment, it's all for a reason. You did not misstep. You need to trust that. Like, seriously, you need to trust that. It all happens for a reason. We go in cycles, right? Cycles. Okay, I don't even know if I'm gonna fucking post this. I love you guys. If you're going through a dark night, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, I love you so much. You fucking got this.